when I describe to people what Backline is, right, it's anything an artist needs to perform their job. Most of the time, that's obvious. It's drum sets, it's keyboards, it's guitars. Sometimes it's less obvious. You know, we get hit up for things like oxygen tanks, wheelchairs, a dozen long stem roses without thorns.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us today on Elation Podcast. I'm your host, David Adams. Today, we're with Trey Smith. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're going to get into all kinds of deep conversation stuff, I'm sure, but let's just start easy. And where you from and where'd you grow up?
So I'm from New Orleans originally.
Awesome.
Yeah, born and raised in Uptown, actually.
Okay.
Laurel Street, right off Jefferson. Grew up in the 80s and the 90s there when it was a very different kind of place than it is now.
Right.
A lot of love for this city. But I really kind of cut most of my teeth in Austin, Texas. That's where I went to college, learned a lot.
I went to St. Edward's.
Did you?
Yeah, for a little bit of time.
Fair enough, yeah. I also did not finish when I was at UT.
Yeah, okay,
so,
there we go.
Yeah,
All right.
I feel that.
Well, my goal was to get into UT, but then things happened.
As they do.
As things they do.
Yes, indeed.
And it progressed a little differently, but that was always the goal.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I loved Austin. Austin was an incredible experience for me. I kind of was in there between bubbles, really. You know, there was that late 90s tech bubble that kind of burst, and then it kind of picked back up in 2004 and became what it is now.
Right.
And that was the time when I was there, 99 to 05.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a great time to be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, dove both feet into anything I can get into music-wise. Worked in college radio, worked in pirate radio for a period of time, did TV, music TV, and ran a music venue out of my house for a little while as well.
Awesome. Out of your house?
Out of my house, yeah. I was very DIY at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was very much like, you know, Austin still had these silo scenes a little bit.
Yes.
And a lot of my homies and I, we had different bands that were just not really finding their way in the scenes that were happening. Couldn't really get into a lot of the major venues on Red River and emos and such.
Right.
So we're like, you know, let's start our own place. Let's just start doing shows on the regular. We'll have our friends play, and that'll be what it is. And so that's what it became. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's called Rancho Relaxo.
Okay.
That house no longer exists, unfortunately. But
I wonder why.
yeah, I can't imagine why. But yeah, no, it was a couple years that we did that. And interestingly enough, like after we moved out, it was quiet for a year, and then somebody else picked up the mantle and ran it as Rancho Relaxo for another couple years. So that was really exciting to see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It seems like a great place to do that in Austin.
It was, man. I mean, every band wants to play in Austin, even then, right? And we were very much in this sort of punk rock scene that was happening, and those bands really didn't have any place to play, and so we gave them a friendly atmosphere, a friendly place to be. We also did like some, you know, alternative South by Southwest shows there.
Okay.
Yeah, our real like, we're gonna push this as far as we can. We did like a 19-band 2-stage festival.
Wow.
On one of the South by Southwest days, and that was crazy. But super, you know, super educational. Learned about booking shows, learned about running audio, learned about how to take care of an audience, just all kinds of great stuff. It was a great experience.
It's sad South by Southwest got rid of music.
Yeah, that was already kind of happening when I was there in a weird way, I would say. You know, it became so commercialized at that point where it was like everything was the Cheetos, you know, event at some parking lot somewhere. It had nothing to do with music anymore. It was all activations. Right. And I mean, the music was still there, but you could already get that sense, that vibe of what it was.
It was just a part of the background.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You know, and like the conference was a really big deal at that time as well. The film festival part was huge. But you know, it was just a different vibe.
It's become more techy now, right?
That's what I hear. I've honestly, what's crazy. So I left Austin the weekend of Katrina. I was moving back here the weekend of Katrina, crazily enough. And I went back in 2007 once to play a show with an old band I was in, and did not go back again until this year.
Wow.
Or sorry, 2025.
Okay.
And it was a mind blower to see just how different that city is.
Yeah, it's way colder than it used to be.
Colder is an interesting term and accurate, I would
say.
Yeah. It's still young. It still has an energy to it for sure, but it's different. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, much more packed.
So I was there 03 to 05 probably.
So right around the same time.
Yeah. I had a great time there. I loved it. The people were great. But just, I mean, I got distracted is what happened, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's an easy town to get distracted.
Yeah, 100%. But I also was already working before I started going to college. So I kind of I was an entrepreneur. I had my own business. I had my partner running it in Florida while I was doing college, which was the family model thing that I was trying to portray.
Yeah.
And about halfway through it, I was just like, what the hell am I doing out here? I need to go back and make money. Like, what am I doing here? And I remember I had a discussion with the school, not therapist, but like the counselor that like basically they brought me in because I stopped going to class.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know, and they asked me why I stopped going to class. And I told them, I'm like, I'm basically at home on the phone doing deals back in Florida because I'm tired of not making any money. And I don't feel like your classes are teaching me anything.
Yes.
And they go, why are you here? I said, I don't know.
I'm asking myself the same.
Bye.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I left the next week.
Yeah,
like, you know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's practical.
Yeah,
Right.
and I was actually thankful that they asked me that question because it was worked in reality. They were like, in a sense, like you don't need to be here if you've already established that point.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. This is ancillary for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
You know?
The thing, my experience there, I felt like college was always ancillary too. I was working in studios some. I always worked at the radio stations. That was always something I was into. Playing in bands, doing basically anything I could. And so school was just one of those things. It was not the primary focus.
Right.
I know for a lot of people, college is that.
Right.
But I think if you are self-motivated or you have your own personal, drive, that's kind of what it becomes. It's just another pathway.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Another opportunity even.
Yeah. If anything, just use it as a networking tool.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, that being said, talk to me a little bit about how the music industry has tailored you to being Backline now.
Sure.
Because you don't start there. I'm sure
No, absolutely
just
not.
like I didn't start where I am now in the music industry.
Yeah.
Like it tailors you to that. So
Yeah,
tell me
and it's
about that
definitely a niche.
process a little bit.
Yeah, so I think my goal coming out of college theoretically was that I was going to be in the film business. That was kind of my thought, right? And when I moved back to New Orleans post Katrina, film industry was bustling. There was a lot happening even right after Katrina and all that period. But I just really had a hard time finding my way in. Most of the folks that I was meeting were like, yeah, you could come intern for us for a year or 2 years and then you can start making money. I already had a kid at that time.
Right.
I was like, I can't not be making
Intern
money.
is not the right word.
Exactly. That's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I met a gentleman by the name of Sherman Bernard, who used to own a nightclub here in town called Old Man Rivers, very famous 80s nightclub. He had a production company called Bernard Productions, sort of the production high school of this city. And he hired me. He hired me to be a truck driver, pretty much right with no experience. Now, I told him a little bit about my experience running a venue out of my house and things of that nature. None of that applied.
Right.
It was like, can you drive a truck? I couldn't, but I told him I'd get a license anyway, figured it out. Started moving pianos and doing a variety of different things. Learned a little bit of lighting, a little bit of audio, a little bit of video, staging, the whole bit. Eventually, it was like, oh, well, we do this thing called Backline. It's musical instruments. You just got to set it up, tear it down, be there for the band. That's all that it is. I was like, well, that's awesome. That sounds like so much fun.
Right.
So in the time working with him, I went from truck driver, piano mover, loader to production manager. And when I became production manager, Backline was something I really enjoyed. It's my favorite part, but it was a small part of what we were doing.
Right.
As time progressed, and this is 2007 to 2011, basically. As time progressed, I kept feeling like, man, we are just not, there's an opportunity in this city for Backline to be its own thing. Everyone does a little bit of it. Nobody does it particularly well. Even we don't do it particularly well. It needs a commitment. And I had some friends that I was close with that were interested in me doing something or us doing something together. And from that came True South Artist Services, which was the first Backline specific business in the production community in New Orleans.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't think most people realize how important it is.
Yeah. So there's a film idiom I've always heard that the closer you are to the camera, the more money you make, right? There is nobody on a stage that's closer to the artist than the Backline people.
Correct.
You are the one that is providing their tools. You are navigating their interactions with those tools directly.
Absolutely.
It's a really important job. I'd say about half of it is technical, half of it is psychological.
Yep.
Yeah. Very much about managing the person.
100%. So I did live sound forever. Like that's how I cut my teeth in LA. Was doing live sound.
Yeah.
And so you obviously work with the Backline very, very seamlessly.
Absolutely.
If that all works out well.
Yes, indeed.
Done some music directing. I've done a bunch of stuff for stage stuff. So I understand the Backline very well. And how important it is and how chaotic it is until the moment the artist walks on stage.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we are always remembered for the thing we missed.
Correct.
You are the needle in the haystack every time.
Absolutely.
And so I personally I'm just a very thorough person. It's the way I approach things. I like being very upfront. I like planning. I like having it all dialed in up front. That seems to suit Backline very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've found some
Not
success
artist,
there.
Backline. Very well.
Indeed. Yes, you are 100% accurate.
Yeah.
That is 100% correct. But yeah, I mean, it is. It can be extremely chaotic. Most of the people that get into owning some Backline think it's really easy up front.
Right.
Like, oh man, why am I paying money for this drum set? Then you start realizing there's 150 different kinds of drum sets. There's 80 different types of cymbal stands. And this guy that you're dealing with right now that's mad at you doesn't like the cymbal stand that you have.
Right.
That's the sort of nature, the bread and butter of Backline. You got to be able to navigate that up front because honestly, all you're trying to do is make sure the artist is comfortable when they go up there and use those tools.
Right.
That's all you're trying to accomplish. And if you are trying to tell them that, oh no, this is just as good as the thing you told me you wanted, you've already failed.
You already failed.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, the artist always has to be right, but that doesn't mean that's what they use.
Yeah.
They just have to be right.
They just have to be right. I mean, it's a power dynamic, right?
Yeah.
It's been playing out on stage. And whatever is transpiring, you need to make sure that they feel supported, that they're confident, because that's what's going to result in a good show.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's so important, but also the production on stage is important too. Because I mean, a major Backline show, you're moving in and out sets and stuff.
Oh, tons of stuff. Well, sometimes, I mean, I think when I describe to people what Backline is, right, it's anything an artist needs to perform their job, right? Most of the time, that's obvious. It's drum sets, it's keyboards, it's guitars, guitar pedals, maybe, certainly guitar amps. Sometimes it's less obvious. We get hit up for things like oxygen tanks, wheelchairs, a dozen long stem roses without thorns. That does happen. Now,
Who clips with thorns? That's all I have to ask you.
Anyone who's going to hand out a show on Valentine's Day, hand those out, that's usually where that's coming.
No, but is there an intern clipping thorns behind the scenes? That's what I want to ask.
That definitely will happen. The good thing about production, right, is it's a constant collaborative process. There's departments, there's audio, right, lighting, all these different people. There's hospo. And a lot of those really complicated things that have nothing to do with our technical expertise, I can go to hospo and say, hey, dozen long stem roses without thorns. You got an intern?
Yeah, make that happen.
Yes,
yeah,
and that's a great thing. But every once in a while, it does fall to us.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
Yeah.
Tell me a horror story.
Oh man, so talking a little bit about an artist feeling comfortable or uncomfortable on stage. There are certainly those scenarios where an artist wants to play games with you. Mm-hmm. And I remember this show we did with a legacy artist from the 50s, that his name I'm not going to mention, that was in Chalmette. It was with my former employer. And he wanted to be the Backline tech on the show because he wanted to save a little bit of money, which was a recurring theme when working with him. And the guitar player was in a bad mood that day and just decided that he was going to make my boss run all day. So I don't like this guitar. This guitar doesn't play the way I want it to play. You got to bring me another guitar. So my boss was like, bring me another guitar. I'm like, all right, cool. Get it set up. We'll bring it to you. Bring him the guitar. No, I don't like this one. Bring me another one. My boss is like, okay, give me another one. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is starting to get expensive. You need to sort of put your foot down a little bit because he's starting to get you to, no. You need to bring me another guitar. Guy's leaving the shop, get another phone call. I need more cables. He doesn't like the cables I brought. I'm like, man, you can't let this dude run you. You got to really put the brakes on it, get him to a comfortable place. Let's get this under control. I'd say by the time we got to showtime, we brought him an entirely new guitar rig and brought him some consumables that he never asked for in the first place, just to get him to calm down because he knew he could keep asking for that stuff. And that kind of horror story is the type of thing I avoid at all costs. Because at the end of the day, like, that stuff is totally unnecessary.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, and you're also not the artist manager.
Exactly.
Which where that kind of teeters on that point.
It does. I would honestly say, like, going back to that power dynamic, right? Like, I think there's a part there where artists frequently are accustomed to people wanting to make them happy.
Right.
And if they're in a mood, that's the sort of game of, I want you to make me happy.
Right.
Even if it's unrealistic.
Right.
Even if it has nothing to do with reality. But we're still in business.
100%.
And you got to navigate that carefully. And that's why good managers, good production managers, good tour managers, good artist managers understand how to sort of create those buffering zones.
Oh yeah, there is no panic button.
Yeah.
There is no panic button. It's just everything is always going to be okay, no matter what. And that's just the thing that the good managers can do that.
Absolutely.
You
need to have this here. We might not need it, but if you ask for it, at least you know it's there.
Right. But I've had a different couple. I was just going to say one, but it really has more to do with the artist and the dynamics of what happened to the Backline.
Yeah.
But so we were doing some Robin Thicke concerts, And I don't know if you've seen the Robin Thicke show, but Robin likes to get on
The piano. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were doing a show in Lauderdale at the Hard Rock and in Seminole, and he wanted to get on the piano, which there was only so many backline pianos you can jump on.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, thickness of the lid is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he also wanted pyrotechnics. So he also wanted to throw fire across the piano like they do on the hibachi tables.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yeah.
So after convincing the backline company that it can happen,
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we went into rehearsal, a couple hours before the show, right?
Yeah.
But Robin's not at this rehearsal because we're really just practicing the fire part, right?
So you have a fire marshal there and everything?
Yeah, there's a fire marshal there, and there's a guy that's throwing basically vodka water onto the table and then lighting it and then walking away type of situation.
Wow.
Yes. Well, so the person who, and I still don't know who or where they found this person, but the person that they decided to put as Robin on the piano for the experiment got burned. Okay. And like caught the pants on fire and like had to like get taken off the piano and it stop, drop, and roll type shit. Like full on caught fire.
Yeah.
Like could have been a problem, right? No one decided to tell Robin.
Still has to happen.
So it's gotta happen, but it didn't work out so well in practice. But hey, this is your show. This is what you want. We're gonna go forward with it.
We'll do it better the second time.
We'll do it better the second time.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nobody got caught on fire during the show, but I remember watching the moment that they lit the piano on fire for Robin, and I'm just sitting there thinking, like, please don't. Because my liability policy at that point, that's getting ready to get pulled. Although I was hoping Hard Rock would participate.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the minute y'all brought this up, they're like, yeah, we're not covering that.
Yeah,
that's on y'all.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So things like that have transcribed.
I feel like that falls into the whole like extracurricular neighborhood. Like, it overlaps so many different things.
100%.
But like, that's such a unique circumstance.
100%.
Yeah, there's no question.
No, but those are the moments that I feel like you learn so much about what you actually do in this industry.
100%.
Because those are the moments that you have to make those managerial decisions, and you have to make those on-site decisions that are specific to that show, that moment, that time frame. And you really learn how you react and yourself in those moments.
No, totally. And I think, there's a clarifying factor maybe in that kind of time, right? Where this is bullshit. We don't need to worry about this. We do need to figure that out. Right. I've done some interesting festival dates where like, one of my favorite festival shows I've ever taken part in was when Outkast played Voodoo, which was on a Halloween night.
Right.
Incredible. Was working with a bunch of people that I loved working with. Was the last show of that reunion tour that they did.
Right.
Just everything about it was like magical. Right. There were like 30-mile-an-hour winds that day, and they had this massive video wall, and it was me, the stage manager, Steve Rehaj, a couple of other people on the back of that stage holding that video wall down to the ground, and it was bending like a sail in that way. Because this was before they had video wall that would let wind through.
Right.
And there's the guy on the side of the stage looking at that wind speed detector at the top of the stage, looking at it, because the minute it hit, I forget what it was, 32 miles an hour, it might have been 28 miles an hour, I can't quite remember, but whatever, if it hit that for like an extended period of time, 5 seconds or something, the whole show was going to go down. And I just remember like, this is the kind of stuff, again, it's clarifying. It's like, I got to hold this video wall down so that this badass show can finish.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if that wind cancels it, because we're just going to try to get through it.
Right.
Yeah. I also, another really good one, similar vibe, Lauryn Hill has a reputation for not showing up on time. I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't know. She, showed up late for 30 minutes into her Voodoo set.
Right.
A couple years later. I remember after that happened, me and Steve Rehaj and a couple of other people in that camp were talking to her production manager at her trailer in the artist compound. Can we get her to play that last remaining 30 minutes, 40 minutes on a different set, on a different stage after the festival kind of ends? And just watching that whole negotiation go down between Steve, between the people involved. And it was like, Trey, get the backline over there. Let's make the show happen. And we had this 20-minute window when the stage went down and when we had to get that whole rig up, she had
Right.
tons of keys, all kinds of crazy stuff. And it was amazing making that happen. You know, that's the kind of stuff, again, clarifying. Right?
Yeah.
You got to get it to the end. Now, she still showed up late for that refill.
Right.
You know, so she only got so much time.
Right.
But I did my part. The team that was on the audio team did their part. All the artist hospo folks did their part. And that's all that really matters.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And I feel like, and that's what I love about music and as a whole in the industry, is that there are similar moments in each category. You know, as an artist, you feel those moments just differently.
Yeah.
You know, the backline feels it, the sound guy feels it, the lighting guy feels it. Everybody feels those moments just differently.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so whether it's good or it's bad.
It's funny that you say that, man, because actually what that brings me back to is like what I felt when I first did like full service production, building a stage on Bourbon Street and putting a crap PA on it for a 4-hour show in the middle of the January.
Right.
Like that sucked. That was hard. But when it was done, that sense of accomplishment,
Absolutely.
incredible.
Incredible.
Better than any drug.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. When you can turn around and look at, after you've adjusted everything, you're midway through the show, everything sounds great. All of the musicians are already on stage. All the little nuances have been handled, and the show's just gonna start or go from there and finish.
Yes.
And you're like, all right, I'm all right. You know, like
I got this done. I got it through.
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's a good mantra too, man. I think like anytime it's hard, anytime it's scary, anytime you're like pushing yourself to the edge of uncertainty, man, show's still gonna happen. Something's still gonna be finished at some point down the road.
absolutely.
It's everything you can do to make sure it works.
100%.
And that's really all it is.
But I also think it's important for independent guys to know that your problem moments happen even at the top.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because what I think a lot of people think is that money fixes the problems.
Yeah. Or that shit rolls downhill too.
Right.
Yeah.
And if anything, it actually amplifies the problems.
Yes.
So because now you have more wheels to go wrong.
100%.
You
Oh,
know?
man, yeah.
So like the simpler a show, the better, even if it might be, you know, more independent or more like downgraded in your own head. But if you think about it, the simpler shows are much easier than the more complicated shows.
You know, so I had a conversation with a gentleman earlier today who he's a production guy in town, owns a production company, full service company. He works in a very different segment of that world than I do. And, you know, he has some backline, he does some backline, but his backline is very packaged for the types of work that he does. And the way he describes it to me is like, look, I'm not really as worried about artist riders as
Right.
you are. I'm really trying to satisfy my clients' needs and make sure that my crew has the easiest pathway to that satisfaction.
Right.
And so I package it a certain way, I make it look a certain way, it's labeled a certain way so that it's as dummy proof for them as humanly possible. That's not my business model.
Right.
My business model is an artist gives us a rider. It's a wish list, and we are trying to fill that every single wish the way we can. There is viability in both of these things.
Correct.
Within our worlds, right? And I think I have a tremendous amount of respect for someone who can look at that segment of the work that they're doing and say, I can package this and present this in a way that is easy for everyone, and it's predictable, and that is good business.
Right.
Right there and there. Right then and there. And it's different from mine. But I'm also trying to find a way to package it and do it and make a good business for me.
But it's the difference between a 5-star and a 3-star hotel.
Absolutely.
The 3-star hotel is servicing all your corporate situations, your convention centers. My food doesn't need to be that great. I can just be basic level. It's easy for everybody, easy for my company, easy to maintain, and everybody gets what they expect.
Yes, yes.
And then there's the 5-star hotel, which everybody expects more.
Yes,
and
high touch.
And it's high touch, and
Yeah.
it's very personable, and it's, you know, things are customizable and
Yes.
and whatever it may be. So it's just the dynamics of every business.
Absolutely. No, totally. And, you know, yeah, like it's totally applicable to our world.
Yeah.
Without question.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about, what was your favorite show you've done in New Orleans?
So probably my favorite show that I've ever done, Alan Toussaint is a real significant figure in my head. I've always had tremendous respect and admiration for him as a businessman, as a musician, as a genius.
Right.
You know, I also think he kind of in a lot of ways represents like the best of our city.
I would not disagree with that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, there's a lot that comes with that, but you know, every chance I got to work with him was a real honor. And I was scheduled to do a show that was going to happen in the beginning of December, the year he passed. It was going to be him and Paul Simon in a duo at Le Petit Theater in the French Quarter.
Wow.
And it was a fundraiser for the nonprofit that him and Aaron Neville started to support homeless musicians.
Gotcha.
Everything about this was like, this is going to be incredible. Huge Paul Simon fan. Totally going to be an amazing event. Well, it got announced, and I want to say within 2 weeks, Alan passed.
Passed, right.
Yeah. And it was devastating for the city. It was devastating for a lot of people. And I was like, man, what's going to happen in the show? And the person I was working with on it was like, sounds like Paul Simon's going to pay to do the whole thing. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, he's apparently going to pay to put the show on, bring his band full down. He wants to do full production locally, pay everyone to be involved, do the fundraiser the way it was intended, and have it be in the honor of Alan. And I was extremely lucky to be involved with that. We got to do full backline support for his entire band and Alan Toussaint's band, who sat in for segments of that show. And that was magical, man. That was a real, I will remember this till the day I die kind of gig.
I can see that. Well, because and that's where music is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that relationship with him and Paul was the reason Paul did that.
Yes.
And that was more of a personal thing, which makes it even more beautiful.
Yes.
So those moments you can never recreate.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no doubt. And, I've had some other I've been lucky to be in a lot of interesting circumstances. I think the nature of, as I said, being so close to artists by virtue of the backline side of things is you have to have discretion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to be around some weird stuff, some crazy stuff, and just, it happened, it's gone. I'm not going to remember it. I won't reset. But I've also been in some circumstances where I've met some people that I just never would have expected them to be as normal as they are.
Right.
I did a DJ tech gig one time. I used to do a lot of DJ teching up once upon a time with Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And I expected it to be the weirdest day of my life.
He's also a guy, isn't he?
Incredibly nice. Yeah, could not have been friendlier. And I was just blown away at how, even at that level, those guys can be totally normal.
Yeah.
It's insane. Totally insane.
Yeah. Well, normal's
but in a work setting.
But in that backline sense of normal, yes. No, and I've met him a few times too. He's awesome. And it's funny because and the dynamics of like when I moved to LA, started getting more entrenched into the bigger acts and artists and meeting people, and then you start to realize it's just people.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it seems so big and so massive and so like unobtainable in a sense from looking at the crowd from the crowd's perspective.
Totally.
And then you get back to and you're like, he's just fucking people.
Dude, totally. More specifically, they're coworkers.
Right.
Yeah, which is like a really strange place to be, right?
Right.
And to think about it in that way. But look, I do a lot of work with Eric Krasno. And Eric is one of the big things he does in the city. I mean, he does a lot here, even though he's based in LA now. But he MDs this Tulane homecoming weekend show called Tipping Point. He's done it since it started. And Kraz, incredible human being, incredible career. Working with him, it's a very easy working relationship. I feel like if he were at Starbucks and I were at Starbucks and we were two baristas, it would be equally as easy and chill.
Right.
And that's like a funny thing to realize about someone that's just so skilled and has so much admiration. It's like,
absolutely.
He's just an excellent coworker.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And most of them will show that they need you.
Yeah, 100%. And appreciate the work.
The humbleness.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's to me, those are the ones that last forever.
Interesting. Yeah, like have long careers.
They have the long careers because they've been humble enough to know what music gives them.
Sure.
So it's always a pure moment,
Something I'm reminded of in saying that, right? Like I think one of my big drivers in my career has been like the art of collaboration. I love collaborating with people. It's why I love festival work so much. I think to your point, like people that understand that to get what they want out of their career, they need to work with others, no matter who they are and where they are.
Right.
Like it is one of the biggest predictors of long-term success, I think. No. Kind of to your point.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Because especially in the music industry, where you meet somebody isn't where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Absolutely.
So it's always incumbent to treat everybody with respect and who's coming in, and if they're around, that means that they're doing something. Especially if they're backline. If they're backstage somewhere and they've got some pass or they're doing they're doing something. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
so like there's got to be a respect level on a whole, because one day you might work for them, one day they might work for you, one day they might work for an artist that works with you. Like, and those relationships just continue to move forward. And LA really taught me how small the industry is. And knowing 10 people, knowing 10 of the right people can get you to 1,000 of the right people.
Dude, 100%. Yeah, there's no question. That is, if there's one bit of information I could impart to any human being entering this industry, it is like your reputation is everything in this line of work. And you have to constantly be keeping in mind that everyone remembers everyone. The things that you do wrong, they only haunt you if you don't handle them well.
100%.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know how good or bad your reputation is.
That's so true.
So I'll give you an example. Juvie's a tenant here at the studio.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does all his product shots here. He does a lot of music stuff here. They're getting ready to shoot the podcast with him and Manny here, all that stuff. So anyway, which is, it's great. But when him and I first met, which was through somebody else, they brought Juvie in, blah, blah, blah. We were talking, and in the conversation, Juvie looks up at me and he goes, yeah, I'm excited to be here, and become a tenant. Da, da, da. He goes, and I checked you out in the industry and your name checks out. And I didn't even think of myself as that. Like, where am I at in the industry? Or would even think Juvie could call and check up on me.
Yeah,
like,
who does he know that knows?
Who the hell is he calling? That was the first time I thought in my head. Yeah. But then it comes to, you realize, I mean, I've been here 18 years and I know a lot of people, and, at some point, somewhere it crossed.
Absolutely.
And he was able to make a connection somewhere. Now, he never told me, but he was able to make a connection somewhere. And it was one of those moments. It was like, all right, I've done all right with myself if I have a good enough name and where I don't even know where it comes from and it's good,
Dude, totally. Yeah, that is your resume. I mean, the truth is, and I think growing up in this city really teaches you that in its own kind of weird way.
Oh yeah, well everybody's a connect. I mean, we're all Kevin Bacon in this movie. we're all connected.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about who you know and I know.
No, I'm sure it'll get deep in the woods somewhere.
Yes, indeed.
But that's what what is it? A big small town.
Yes. Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when you were doing audio, like, is it something you ever hope to get back to, or is it something that
I still do it. I mean, so as far as like live sound though.
Yeah, live sound.
Yes and no. So I loved live sound. I thought it taught me more about myself and about where I fit in the industry than anything else I've ever done.
Yeah.
It made more connections than I've ever made. And it also gave me more confidence, I think, than anything else I'd ever done in music.
Yeah.
I think where I drifted off was I started to want to be the promoter, and I started wanted to put the shows together, and I started wanting to kind of be more on the money side and the actual production side, not just bringing stuff out, or not just tying things together.
Yeah.
So that's when I started doing some music direction stuff. Like I music directed a big show with Saul Bedford. For Monster out in Vegas at the Palms Casino.
That sounds fun as hell.
It was the greatest shit show I've ever been a part of. And a long story, but basically Monster had gave Fasal $5 million to produce this show, and he basically pocketed $4 and spent $1 million on the fucking show.
That's crazy.
And you realize that once you were on stage doing all of the messes that he didn't pay for.
Oh, man.
And you realize I'm there to MD, but somehow I'm doing live sound and I'm artist management and I'm backline and I'm this and I'm that.
What have I got myself into?
What have I got myself into? Wait. And the whole thing, this was where it really got screwed up. So the whole thing was supposed to go live on YouTube when the show started. It was supposed to just kick off on live, and they hit play in fucking no sound.
I mean,
and I'm there music directing. Okay, I'm there recording it. That's my job. And so my job was not the audio at that time, but everybody's looking at me because I'm the one on stage with everybody. connecting things and doing all those things. So everybody's yelling at me. I'm like, I'm not near the soundboard. I'm here hitting press and record on my Pro Tools on my laptop.
Yeah.
Like, y'all do everything else, you know, like, oh wait, you want to make sure mine's working? Here, can everybody hear the click? Yeah, mine's working. Something you're doing isn't. And it became this, for like 15 minutes, we had dead silence.
Oh, that's crazy.
And we have Jackson 4, Aerosmith, Rick Ross, like this huge Christina Milian and Charles or Magic Johnson are hosting. Like, we have this huge situation going on, and there's nothing, dead silence.
That's dude's wild.
And ended up being a mute button on the live sound board that the live sound guy didn't take off.
Yeah, it's always something like
something stupid like
it's
that.
It's always something stupid.
But you check everything else beforehand.
Of course,
you know?
yeah, of course.
So anyway, like moments like that, I felt like kind of shifted me off of being the backline and being the stage guys, and wanted to be more of the promoter and kind of the business side of the stuff.
Yeah, it's totally fair.
But at the same time, like, if I didn't do the live sound stuff, I wouldn't be able to put these boards together. I wouldn't be able to do some of the studio technical stuff that I am able to do comfortably.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that you have to have pockets of knowledge to be able to, like, when you start working into entrepreneurship, management, whatever, you have to be able to lean on those things. You may not be the expert,
right,
but you at least know how to talk it and interact with it and understand how to judge around it.
100%, and understand that it's going to happen and how to treat yourself in those moments, and how to truly react. Because I mean, if I would have exploded and went crazy in those moments, that the show wouldn't have happened. Things would have been even worse. For
your reputation would
would have been fried, you know. Yeah. But in the end, everything worked out great. And actually, Steve Tyler and Joe Perry came over, gave me a thank you, and, like, you know, those moments you're like, all right, all of this was worth it.
Yeah, I saved the show, and
it's fine. But I'm gonna go take some Xanax and pass out.
Dude, totally.
You know, and it just but
can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, please do.
You totally got me. So I did Backline for Buku every year that it existed. One of my favorite events I've ever worked. For a lot of reasons, but there was one particular year that they had DJ Snake. Turned Down for What, right? He was really popular at that time. It was like Turned Down for What was like huge at that moment, and he was in the Float Den. And the Float Den at that time had like a really wash, rinse, repeat approach to DJs. It was all, you know, digital DJing, CDJs and mixers all day long. Everybody just walks up with the USB stick,
right?
Plugs it in, starts, goes, done.
Yep.
He doesn't do that. He plays turntables, and he does it all through a computer.
Gotcha.
And at that time, that technology was
questionable.
Yeah. You definitely wanted the computer there to test it.
Yeah.
That you were going to use. That was important. So, you know, the stage manager was a very DJ versed stage manager. He knew exactly what to expect. He had been communicating with DJ Snake's tour manager about how early are you going to be there? We definitely need to test the rig. We'll have it side of stage for you. Just want to make sure you're there. Oh yeah, we'll be there 2 hours early to test with the laptop, yada, yada. 2 hours comes. Not there. 1 hour comes, not there. 30 minutes before set change, not there. Set change, not there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm talking to my tech that's on that stage on the radio. Dude shows up 10 minutes into a set change. Tour manager comes running up, you know, freaking out. They're running late, blah, 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 blah. Pulls this laptop out of a bag. Here, hands it to the tech. You set it up. It's like, well, this isn't my laptop. This is your laptop. It's like, get going. Calls me on radio. Hey, guy, I got this laptop up. It's not connecting. Something's not working. I need some help. So run across the site. That Float Den was packed. I mean, it was probably 5,000 kids.
Right.
And the stage manager's like, I can't really hold the rig side of stage. We need to pull it out in front of everybody. And we're like, okay. So we go with the rig out in front of everybody. Every time I look up, it's 5,000 kids looking straight at me. Right. And me and my guy are rewiring, figuring it out, can't get it. Computer's not working. Tour manager is behind us freaking out. DJ Snake starts showing up and is behind us freaking out. At one point, I hear DJ Snake tell this tour manager, give me a microphone so I can tell everybody that he messed it up. And it was everything in my power to, like, breathe. Don't punch this guy. Your career will be over.
Right.
And finally it comes on. And I step away and I'm like, oh, thank God. And he gets to it. He starts going and then it goes down again. And I'm like, son of a bitch. Walk over. We do some things. We swap a turntable out. Comes back on. show goes and it's great. And I walk off the stage. I'm like, never want to do that again. Never, ever, ever. I did everything I was supposed to do up front.
Right.
It still happened that way.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And those are the nuances that teach you, and those are the moments that shape you.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think when you can keep yourself from punching the internationally famous DJ in a moment when 5,000 people are staring at you
Right.
for the show that they paid to watch.
Correct.
Yeah. That's
Correct.
Yeah. You learn a lot about yourself from that.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a few of those moments.
That's how it goes.
I didn't handle myself very well at one of them.
I mean, I think, like I said before, like everybody makes mistakes, man. How you handle them is what people remember.
Oh, 100%.
I've had gear go down. I've messed up on gear. I've certainly missed things. But the one thing I always, wanted to do is make sure I made it right. Made sure I made it right for the show, made it right for my client, my friend, whoever that was, that's what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, going back to the very beginning, the people are just people. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they understand a screw up as long as you did your best to fix it. That's all they care about.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
if you care.
Yeah.
Showing
if
that
you give
care.
a shit,
yeah.
The fuck up doesn't matter.
100%.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the city?
Please.
Yeah, because I feel like, you own a business in the city. I own a business in the city. How do you feel about the music industry in the city right now? What are your feelings on it?
So it's my overall perspective on the music industry is kind of where I would put New Orleans right now, because we are in a transition period. And we are and especially with AI coming in and some other things, I feel like musicians are going to have to find another footing, and focus on certain things to evolve into the new world.
Yeah.
I don't think New Orleans is necessarily the best place to be on the forefront of that technology, because we're always about 10 years behind.
Yeah, we're not a technology forward place.
No.
Yes,
so I feel like we're going to be kind of stagnant in a limbo type of world for the next couple of years, just because we have to find our footing and where it goes.
Yeah.
And I feel like there are a lot of really old, talented musicians that work in the city that have plateaued and will never go farther. And then I feel like there are the underground kids that are learning how to navigate the social media situation and the whole industry as a whole, but they struggle because New Orleans not having that technical background and the help that you need technically. I feel like they hit a plateau.
Yes.
So I feel like there's a gap that has to be closed. If you were to ask me how New Orleans industry for music is a huge gap that needs to be closed. And my goal building this place was to start to close that gap.
Interesting. That makes total sense.
So because right now we're sitting in the first Dolby Atmos mixing room in Louisiana.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy and surprising. I would have figured that we would have had more than that.
Yeah. We had 0 before I built this 2 years ago.
Wild.
Now we have a couple. Okay. Loyola's building one. Bright Frame has one, and there's one other studio that have one. This is still the largest.
Okay, gotcha.
This is a 9x6x2. But that being said, this room doesn't get used that often.
That's the
the technology's here and we're here, and I'm not saying everybody knows who I am, but there's a lot of people in town that know who I am that do enough music to have used me before, and we, in my opinion, we get wrapped up in the Bahamas life. We don't need to move fast down here to live down here. So we don't necessarily feel like we have to move that fast. But then you leave to go to New York or LA and you realize how much faster everybody's moving.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets those moments.
Yeah, I'd say the seriousness part too is a little bit of a struggle that I've always had.
Yeah, one of the biggest things like Nashville studio musicians bring up to me is how they've come down here to do some sessions, and the seriousness of what the recording sessions aren't in line with work.
Yes.
And people show up drunk. They don't show up. They show up late. They don't have a process. They're not organized. There's no reason to be at the studio. They're just creating, and that's just not how Nashville works. It's a 9-to-5 job.
It is. Yeah. It's very dialed, very disciplined. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously that's not what New Orleans is. Conversely, right? We're not
No,
is
we're a
95.
pirate city.
We're a pirate city. There's no doubt.
We're a pirate. My heritage goes back all the way to Gene Lafitte. So Gene Lafitte's first mate was Nat Chickazzola. He's a great uncle of mine.
That's incredible. I love that so much.
Right?
You know, I feel like you and I are fellow travelers in this, right? Like when I started True South, which is now the Backline company, you know, the idea that we had was like, it's not just enough to be a backline company based in New Orleans. We want to be the best backline company possible. And part of it was that it's a music city. We should have that.
Right.
We should have that kind of quality. And that was my hope. The challenge though is that gap.
Right.
Because when you are pioneering and saying, I want to take us up a notch in some capacity, you don't have the support structure.
No.
You're cutting a new road.
100%.
Yeah. And it's going to be a lot harder.
Also, especially in a pirate city, because the grit and the dirt is what made us beautiful. And when you try to clean it up with a corporate room that we're sitting in,
yeah, people feel weird about
it's
that.
a weird little system. You know, it's like they feel more comfortable in the studios where you can pour a bottle of Jack on the floor and nobody cleans it up. You know, like.
So I would actually throw this idea at you. I think to a certain degree, if you are a New Orleans person operating in this industry here and also trying to cater to the headspace of people that are not from here, you have to be versed in code switching. You have to understand it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, look, during the Super Bowl, we were probably one of the busiest companies in the city, right? We did insane shows with insane people at an insane level. We also were doing stuff at Music Box Village.
Right.
For very little money. And the idea there is if you're here, you have to walk in both worlds.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, that's why I try to keep my prices relative.
Or at least, to your client.
You know,
right? To the need
I'm
of the
half the
situation.
cost of LA, but I'm a little more expensive than your average studio in New Orleans.
That's fair. It's totally fair.
You know, because I have all the equipment that you would get in LA.
Yes.
You just don't have to buy the plane ticket anymore. You know?
You're already saving money.
Yeah, you know. So, but at the same time, like, I'm from here. I want to elevate this place as much as possible. I want to give back to music and New Orleans.
Yeah.
I feel like I try to do that a little bit at a time, but it's not an easy thing to navigate.
Totally.
Because that gap that I'm talking about, you're in it by yourself.
You are. Yeah. You are the pioneer.
Yeah.
You're moving your way. But, same time, effective change, long-term change, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
It's not fast.
Yeah. Listen, you have to build it for people to come.
Yes.
So you have to take step one. You can't just wish it to happen.
Yeah.
So my step one was to build a location. Step two is to connect the dots.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a great, yeah. So as long as you got a long-term plan in mind, you're working your way there.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't succeed.
No. I got plenty of space for gray hair.
That's a weird part about owning a business. I came to realize, like in my mid-40s, which is where I'm at now, that I'm actually an optimist. I'd never realized.
Yeah,
that,
right.
It is.
But you better be.
You have to be. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just going to get shut down.
My theory is, when you're an entrepreneur, you don't work for anybody. You work for everybody.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
Everyone is your boss.
Everybody's
even
your
your
boss.
employees.
Yeah.
Your boss.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. But I think that's also like if you embody that, like that's how you end up being a good boss.
Oh.
Right. Like you need to think of it from a service mindset. In my
Get
opinion.
back to caring.
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Get back to caring.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the conversation today.
Yes,
man.
it's been fun, man.
I feel like you and I could go on for like 3 hours.
100%.
And I don't know if these people want to sit around for that, but
I guess we can turn off the cameras and keep it
yeah,
going.
we can turn off the cameras. But you and I, we gotta go to lunch one day and
love that.
and chop it up. And,
Yeah.
and I'm sure we have some connections somewhere.
Yeah, I'm curious. We haven't even gotten pulled out though. Like, where'd you go to school yet? So
Yeah.
I'm definitely curious about that
Yeah,
part.
Curtis for me, but I ended up finishing my high school in Florida. So
Dude, no, same. I was at Newman
Okay.
for about 4 years, and then I was asked not to return, and ended up finishing my school in Tennessee. So
asked not to return to Curtis too. And that's hard to do at Curtis. I'm sorry. Newman might be a little easier. It was hard to do at Curtis, believe me.
that's fantastic.
But that's awesome. So, all right, well, good. For some two fuck ups here in New Orleans industry, we would love you guys to come down and enjoy the industry as it is and enjoy our pirate city. Take our backlines, pay our people.
Mixing our Dolby Atmos studio.
Mixing our Dolby Atmos studio amongst other things. But like I said, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you, bud.
That's been great.
And we'll get together again for sure.
Would love that.
And thank you guys for joining. Oh, actually, sorry. Socials and company info and where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest social media guy.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, yeah.
that's just my but backlinecompany.net, that's our website. We have locations all over the Southeast. We like to say we're the biggest company between New York City and the Gulf of Mexico.
Awesome.
definitely Gulf of Mexico.
There you go.
But we also are on socials. We have a couple of different socials because True South became TBC, NOLA. So we have a couple of different social media accounts so you can see some of our history, some of our current. But yeah, it's all out there.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks again, buddy. And thank you guys for joining us today on the Elation Podcast. And if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Peace.